Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mayokun Adeoti. It's nice to have us all here again today. Today is the main day. Yeah, it's the main day. Yesterday I said was, or rather, today is the D day. Yesterday I said was the main day. Today is the D day, uh, where we will be having our workshop, Django Girls Abuja, officially. And it's my pleasure to welcome us all to today's event. I can see so many lovely people in the house. You are all welcome. Uh, we have a very special guest in our midst, who happens to be the president of Django Software Foundation. She would be giving us an opening remark very soon. And then we will proceed to today's event, today's workshop officially, where we have one of our super awesome coaches who has been coaching us right from the year 2017 when we started Django Girls in Abuja, even though it has always been in person, but due to the pandemic which the world is experiencing, we are having it virtually this time around. So Coach Unamdi would be taking us through today's session. It's my pleasure to welcome all the team members, all the coaches, all the co-organizers. You are all welcome. I mentioned your name yesterday. You guys are welcome. Thank you for putting this together for our participants. So without wasting much of our time, because time really flies, we will be going into the opening remarks. And the opening remarks is going to be delivered by no other person than the president of Django Software Foundation. She also happens to be on the board of trustees of Django Girls Foundation. Okay, so we are talking about two organizations now. Django Software Foundation, where she is the global president, and then she's also on the board of trustees of Django Girls Foundation. She is no other person but our own uh, Anna Anna Makarudze, who is joining us today from Zimbabwe. Ladies and gentlemen, join me welcome for the opening remarks for today's event, Anna Makarudze. You're highly welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayakun. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to meet you all and to be a part of this event. Thank you, Mayakun, for having me. I have maybe a few slides just to guide me in my presentation. So let me see if I can share my screen. Oh, so let me just open. Okay. Okay, I'm all set now. So, hello, welcome to Django Girls Abuja. It's a pleasure for me to be a part of this event. This is my first time presenting at a virtual event, so pardon me, it's a little bit awkward. I'm just used to meetings, but I'll try to make it count for you. So a little bit about me. So I'm a freelance software engineer based in Harare, Zimbabwe. I'm working part-time for the Django Girls Foundation as their fundraising coordinator. And then I'm also a member of the board of trustees for Django Girls Foundation. I am also the president of the foundation, like Bayakun said. And then I've organized a few Django Girls events myself here in Zimbabwe, as well as in other parts of the world. Organized PyCon Zimbabwe, as well as DjangoCon Europe 2018, and spoke at in many conferences. But I've been taking a break from conference speaking since the last time I spoke at a conference was PyCon Africa in 2019. And then when the pandemic happened in 2020, I took a break from conference speaking. So this is the first time that I'm speaking after more than a year and a half. So I'm a bit nervous, but I'm sure I'll be okay. So I started learning programming at an early age. I was fortunate to attend a high school where they offered computer studies. In Zimbabwe, we call it at ordinary level. So I started learning programming at 15, though I had an interest in it since the age of 40. So I fell in love with it, and I hope today will be a day where you also fall in love with programming like I did. And I'm thankful to God that I actually get paid to do something that I really enjoy and something that I really love. For me, programming is fun, and I hope you have the same experience that I always have when I am writing code. So before I say a lot, I'll just give you a bit of background about Django Girls for those who don't know. So Django Girls was started in 2014 by two ladies, Ola Sitaska and Ola Sideska. It's part of EuroPython 2014, and since then it has grown to many parts of the world, including Nigeria. And their goal, which is still the goal of Django Girls, is to introduce women to programming. Why? Because we realized that there are fewer women in the STEM sector, especially in software engineering roles. So by organizing a free workshop, we give women a chance to learn programming, probably something that they might not have a chance to do if, or they might not know actually that they're interested in programming because they've never been exposed to it. So before the pandemic, this would have been a one-day workshop with installation the previous day. Then you would meet at a centralized venue from morning till evening, and you would gather in the same room with coaches. They help you go through the tutorial. If you are stuck, they help you out and they explain concepts which you don't understand. But because the pandemic has just changed the way that we do things all over the globe, for now, Django Girls is not endorsing any physical workshops, and we actually don't approve any applications for physical workshops. That's why you are having this event as a virtual one. Because we value the safety of our participants and the coaches more than the thrill of having our numbers grow. So since 2014, we have had over 20,000 women who have attended our workshops. And in 2017, we did a survey just to check on what our alumni were doing after attending these events. And we had over 500 women participate in the survey. And of those people who took part in the survey, we found out 21% were now working in tech after attending a Django Girls event. They went on further to learn programming until they finally got hired in tech. And we also realized that 79% of those people, women, were still learning to code. So this is just an introduction to programming. It doesn't necessarily follow that tomorrow you apply and get a job, but you need to be patient with yourself to keep on learning so that attending this workshop will not be in vain for you. So we have so many people who are doing well after attending this workshop. Their interest in programming was aroused and they kept on learning until they actually did career changes and moved from whatever they were doing before to get employed in tech. So I hope that we will have success stories like yours after attending today's event. So what are the goals for today? So the first one is for you to get excited to make things. You create a web application from scratch and put it online. It will be a personal blog for you, and I hope you can actually follow the tutorial and deploy your blog, which you can later use for blogging on whatever that interests you. And then one thing that I would want to emphasize is you should not fear errors. In programming, we call them bugs. A bug just means that your code is not doing what it is supposed to do, or it might be because you have made typo. Programming is very specific. You need to you can't use shorthand like we would do when we talk via WhatsApp chat. You can use some shorthand. In programming, you make such an error, it throws if you do that, it throws an error, and you might find yourself wondering why is it not working. Sometimes it's just a simple typo, but don't be afraid of errors, don't be afraid of bugs, and certainly don't be afraid of asking questions. That's how we learn. It doesn't matter how long you have been programming, but we all ask questions. I still ask a lot of questions today. I have people that I go to, and I have people who are asking me questions, because that's how we learn with programming. You are always learning, so don't be afraid of asking questions, and don't be afraid of bugs. They're a part of life once you start this coding journey. And then today, normally when you are attending a physical event, you get the chance to meet people, meet new people. For you, it's going to be a little different, but still, you are meeting new people. You already met me from Zimbabwe. If it was a normal event, I wouldn't be a part of it. So you've actually met a new person. You met me, and you're going to meet new people in the form of other coaches who will be guiding you through your coding tutorial. You'll meet new people in the sense of other participants as well. So I hope you enjoy the experience of meeting new people, even though if it's virtual, you still can form nice friendships, which you can rely on as you continue your coding journey. It's good to have people that you can reach out to, especially when you are coding on your own and you get stuck. You need someone who can just look at your code from a different perspective with a fresh eye from where you are standing, and then they can just help you identify the bug in your code. So I hope you use this opportunity to meet new people, and then I hope you have fun, and you'll be awesome learning to code. I told you I love programming, I enjoy it, and I hope you will also have fun while learning to do that. So I really hope you enjoy learning programming. That's all I can say. And then, so a little advice from me about coding is you should not be afraid to fail. I know for many people, failure is scary, but with programming, that's how we learn and that's how we go on. I write a piece of code right now, it doesn't work. I might feel I failed, but the more I look at it, I'll be able to solve it, and then it works. And whenever I feel whenever I solve something on my own, I can actually jump for joy. I can scream, yay, on my own. Yeah, because that's how programming is. Like you write a piece of code, it has some bugs, you fix it, and then it works, and then you get the thrill of something. Today I've learned something new. So don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of learning something new. It's that's what makes programming fun. You face a challenge, you solve it, and then the thrill of solving a challenge is always for me, it's always awesome. I enjoy myself when I write code more than anything. So yeah, don't be afraid of failure. That's the first one. If your code is not working, what you can do is, what I usually do is I step back. I might actually leave it for a few minutes. I might take a short walk, and when I come back, my brain will be fresh. I will take a look at my code again. And I always use Google as my friend. I like Stack Overflow as well. If you get an error, you can just copy the text from of the error that you are getting, and you post you paste it on Google, it will give you questions. It will give you similar questions that have been asked by other people, and then you can just read through and find solutions. So whenever I face a challenge, I take a step back, I leave it. I might actually change to looking at something else, and then after a few minutes, if I look at it again, I find that I'll be able to handle it. So always give yourself a break. With programming, you don't have to beat yourself up. You don't have to spend so much time, stressing yourself out. Why am I not getting this? Just leave it for a few minutes and then get back to it. You'll be able to come back with a fresh perspective, and you can go on. And then like I was saying, I am still learning today. I actually signed up for some courses that we have on View, which were being given for free. So everyone is always learning, especially in tech. New things are always coming up. So don't feel intimidated or threatened that I don't know. Some people know more than me, or even if some of the participants seem to be learning at a faster pace than you. We learn at different paces, even in school. So just know that everyone keeps learning. Even your coaches, they're always learning, and that's how they are able to help you. So don't be afraid of learning, and don't be afraid of asking questions. That's how we learn and grow. So I'm hoping that you take today as baby steps in your learning programming, and you keep on learning afterwards, and you have the zeal, the fire, and the energy to keep on going, so that you can help us increase the number of women in tech. I love it when more women join the tech space by learning programming. And I'm always helping out a lot of people. I think one of the things that kinds of frustrate me is, despite organizing many Django Girls events here in Zimbabwe, the people that I'm mentoring who come to me for help mostly are men. And I would want to be mentoring women, and I wonder what happens. So if you ever need someone to help you with your code, you can just ask for Mayokun for my email address. I'll be happy to mentor some of the participants who have been part of this workshop. Even if there are female coaches who think they need my help, I'll be available. You can just send me your code on WhatsApp or on email. I can help you out with that. I would love to be mentoring more women, but for some reason, the youngsters that I get that I can help within my community, they are guys, and I have no choice but to help them. Anyway, because of my position being the president of Django Software Foundation, there are so many men involved, and I can't, discriminate men, because there are so many men, so we don't need more men in the field. But I would love it if women, after attending Django Girls Foundation, would continue learning programming. Find people whom you can reach out to, that you can ask for help with your code. Keep in touch with your coaches. Yeah, I just hope that your interest will be beyond this workshop, but you give yourself a couple of months to continue learning programming and see how far this takes you. And Python is an amazing language. Django is a wonderful framework. I love Python, but I love Django more. So I'll be happy if I'll have a few participants, at least, women reaching out to me from this call, just to say, Anna, please help me with my code. I am stuck here. I'll be very happy to do that. So I just want you to know that after you have attended this workshop, you are not on your own. There's a whole community out there, not just in Nigeria, but globally, that can help you out. I've had so many people who have helped me with my code. Some of them are in UK, some of them are in the US, some of them. I just ask people, I just write an email, I am stuck here, please help me with this. If they can help me, they help me. If they don't, if they are not familiar with that issue, then they just tell me, no, I haven't used this library or package before. Then I find a way, even if I don't get help, but at least just reaching out to someone, it helps you when you get back to looking at your code, you have some idea and some perspective. So I'm just hoping that this event will not be in vain, but we'll have many female programmers, coming out from this workshop, just because we are part of Django Girls Abuja virtual. I believe this is the first virtual Django Girls workshop in Africa so far. So you have made history by just being part of the first virtual event. And I hope the effort that you are taking, leaving out your schedule on a Saturday, the other things you could be doing, but you chose to be part of this workshop. So I hope you learn a lot of new things and you build your cool blog, learn a lot of cool stuff. And I hope whatever you learn in this workshop, it will be useful to you in the future. So normally, when we attend Django Girls event, we tweet and use the hashtag Django Girls. So if you would do that, I think that would be great. It's good for Django Girls and it's good also for the organizers. People actually see that, Mayokun is organizing a virtual event. That will be great. So just tweet and then good luck. And I'm sure your coaches gave you a link to this tutorial. We are so proud of it. So I hope you won't just use it today. If you must know, I'll share with you a secret. I'm always referring to this tutorial. I started learning Django in 2015. And up to now, whenever I need something quickly, like I'm deploying my projects on Python anyway, the first place that I just go to the Django Girls tutorial on deploy, and I get my solutions there. So this is a good manual for you that you are using during this workshop, but that you can always use later on. So this is one of my resources my go-to resources that I use frequently. And whenever people ask me which resources to learn Python and Django, I always refer them to this one as the first resource that they can use. So I hope I didn't take too much of your time. Did I? I'm sorry if I went over, but yeah, that's all. Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the workshop.
Wow. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you for these words of encouragement. Thank you for the advice. Thank you for the tips you've shared. Everyone, can we give Anna a virtual round of applause, please? Thank you for your time. Thank you for this. This means so much to us. So much to us. We are really, really grateful for this. Yes, thank you so much. Anna is speaking all the way from Zimbabwe. And when you hear that someone is the president of Django Software Foundation, guys, it's not a small office. Just like you heard her say that she's surrounded by men, she's a strong woman in the middle of many strong men, and she's leading a very strong organization, and she has taken our time to be here with us today. We don't take this for granted. We are really, really grateful. On behalf of the organizers, the coaches, and all the participants, I say a very big thank you to you for this. And also thank you for offering to guide some of our participants. Wow, that's awesome. You guys are lucky, So you would have the president of Django Software Foundation actually, assisting you with your code in the course of this program. So Anna, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. Enjoy the workshop.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so we move on to today's session. Yesterday was the install fest, and we had Coach Fumito Odefemi handle the session. Today we would be having another wonderful time with another great coach who would be taking us through a little bit of the things we learned yesterday and then further. So today, Coach Unamdi will be taking us more on the command line. He will be taking us on code editor and then the introduction to the Python programming language. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming. I like to call him the head coach, of Django Girls Abuja, Unamdi, joining us from Mina, Niger State, Nigeria. Welcome, welcome, Unamdi. You have the floor now. Please let's give Unamdi a round of applause.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Unamdi. Good to see you.
Yes, thanks. It's been a while.
Yeah, been a while, bro. Been a while.
All
It's been
right.
years.
All right. So, good to be on the Django platform again. I also have the opportunity to share my experience with some persons who have taken it as adopted as an interest to take Python to learn Python as a language, and also um, come into programming for the first time, because I believe there are people who are having this experience for the first time. Some are trying to develop their skills. Some are more like hanging around to see how they can be of help to the community. Or in any category you find yourself, I think one of the take homes for me from Mrs. Hannah's presentation was that there is a process we all must follow to achieve some of the goals we've set for ourselves. And it's normal to say, I don't know. And it's also normal to say, I need help. So before I go on, I will just do a brief recap of what our honorable Fumito did yesterday. And that will help me also have a good experience with us today, so that we don't just have this session more like a routine. So, in my own words, or in my own opinion, I think the web is just, literally speaking, look at a spider web, it gives you an idea of what the web looks like. So a spider web must have a source where it must be connected to, and have another place where it also must have support from. So if you look at it, there is a source and there's a destination, and in between there are more like points that connect to each other. So when the spider is spinning a web, it has to make sure that for every point it gets to, there's another point connecting into the next um, junction, if I'm to use that illustration. So for us to stay connected on the internet, there must be like power, there must be internet, and there must be power, there must be connection, and there must be devices that make sure these things happen. So I once asked the question if some people can access the internet without devices, and everybody in the room started laughing. But in case you've seen such kind of situation, I think it will be nice you let us know. But in my own opinion, there must be connection, there must be information that has to be transferred from one point to the other, and probably people who want to also communicate amongst themselves. So for every one of us that want to be a website developer and internet user generally, I think this workshop gives you the ability to know what makes the internet works, how some of the components that make it work, and the significance it has on our daily lives. So just a recap of what his Solito gave us on yesterday. It could be like saying without the internet, we won't be able to have this session we are currently having. And for us to even have this session, I think you have to have Zoom software. You have to have internet connection that's a bit reliable. And you also have to have somebody who is presenting something or have something to share with you across this connection, which has been provided by the internet. So that's like my own brief take on the internet, how the internet works. Information, the channel, and the support systems that make it work, which you can call protocols. So at this point, I would like to take any questions that might arise so that we can actually just kick on with command line instruction. Any question? Any questions? So, okay, I think the silence means we are all good to go. Or can we hear me?
Louder.
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, so that I don't talk to myself and believe everybody is following. All right, so moving on. Before we start this session, right? Can someone just in the comment section just tell me what they understand by command line interface? Just there are no wrong answers. Just your own understanding, how you feel it.
Command line interface.
Yeah, just write it. Just write anything you feel. It doesn't have to be the whole textbook explanation. Just something you feel can give you an idea of what we're talking about today. You can share it in the comment section, and I think we're good to go. Because for us to have an idea of this part, it has to be something that everybody must just be open-minded about and not be afraid that it's a new territory that I have not been to before and might give me some chills if I get into it now. So someone said command line is like the back end, okay? Command line interface is a window for interacting directly with your computer operating system, okay? These are very interesting responses. I like the first one. It's like the back end. Like what we see is now the front end. So this other one is more like a window, yes, interacting directly with your computer operating system. So just to elaborate further on what Lucy just shared with us, but she shared with me privately, but it gives you an idea that the computer is majorly controlled by the operating system. And for you to communicate or to interact with it, there are different interfaces. There's the graphical user interface, and there's the command line interface. So the command line, as it states, is just use of verbs. Like, if we're going back into English language, verbs are action words. So a command is like you're asking it to do something because you want it to do something for you. Like I'm telling you now to say move. So whatever move stands for, it's an action accompanying that. So for the computer to even understand what you're saying, it means you have to interact in the language it understands, and it's dependent on the operating systems you're working with. So based on the tutorial, Django tutorial book, we have like 3 or 4 major operating systems. The Chromebook, the Windows operating system, the Linux operating system, and the Mac OS operating system, which down here we call the Apple MacBook. So now for each of these operating systems, there are different ways we interact with this operating system for the system to also give us what we want in return.
Unamdi, you are muted.
Okay, am I on now?
Yes, you're back.
Oh, sorry. All right, so I was saying that for this Django tutorial guidebook or tutorial book, we have 4 common operating systems: the Windows operating system, the Linux operating system, the Mac OS, and the Linux operating systems. So for us to adequately interact with these operating systems, it means we must interact with languages that these operating systems understand. So now, if we are going back to what a software does, it means that this window only takes commands. And in the Mac OS, it is called a terminal. In the Linux operating system, it's called terminal too. And in Windows, in most cases, you have command prompt and PowerShell. So I've not used a Chromebook before, so I don't know what it's called there, but if anybody can help us with the terminology or the jargon used there, that's fine. But for the ones I know and I'm very familiar with, terminal for Linux and Mac OS, while the Windows operating system have 2 versions, which is the PowerShell and the command prompt. Command prompt is that black screen that actually comes. Command prompt is the common one that comes up every time maybe you're trying to install a software and it needs to run some background commands. While the PowerShell, it comes with a default blue background. So for us to get started, I'll just read a few lines from the tutorial guide. I've been sharing a message on the group for the link to the tutorial guide so that we can walk or we can do this at the same time. So I'll just read a few steps or read a few lines from here. So a command line, what is a command line? It's an application or is a text-based application for viewing, handling, and manipulating files on your computer. The keywords here are viewing, handling, and manipulating files on your computer. So just to put more light into what Lucy shared with us, that is a window for interacting directly with your computer operating system. So now to get started, I might be using my editor, because if I have to switch between my command prompt and the editor, there might be this gap in communication of, okay, I forgot to do this, I forgot to remove the command prompt and I'm now working on the editor. But if that's fine that I go with the command prompt, I can still do that. So are we okay that we should start from the command prompt, or I should start with my editor? Which goes for us? Anybody can suggest? Hello.
I suggest we use the editor.
The editor. All right. Okay, so for those who don't know, who have not used, okay, editor. Okay, 2 persons have said editor. Okay, editor. So that will bring me back to, okay, I'll try and compress this, but not confuse us. So there's a difference between an editor and an IDE. So an IDE has a terminal or a command line interface integrated into it, while editor is just built or designed for you to write and format code properly. So an example of an editor is Sublime Text, Atom. And there are some other not very popular ones, but the very popular editor I know is Sublime Text. While the IDE that I know is Visual Studio Code, and we have lots of them. We have PHP Storm, we have PyCharm, we have there are some other ones I might not be able to remember now, but for every editor that has an interface or a command line interface, it can be classified as an integrated development environment. So most times, most people call VS Code editors and the other way around. But the main thing here is differentiating factor between an editor and an IDE is that terminal that's included inside the IDE. So in most cases, in case you have a VS Code, it can be called an editor if only you use it. Yes, Visual Studio, yes, it's an IDE, yes. It's an IDE. There's Visual Studio and there's also Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is just like a smaller version of Visual Studio. So in case you have Visual Studio, yes, it's an editor and also an IDE. And Visual Studio is also an editor and an IDE. But VS for Sublime Text is only an editor. It doesn't have an IDE integrated into it. So I'll be sharing my screen now, and we'll be getting down to business. So I'll try as much as possible to try and switch in between backgrounds or switch in between operating systems, so that in case you're using a MacBook, we won't be so far apart. And if you're using a Windows, my system currently I'm doing this tutorial will be a Windows operating system. So I'll be sharing my screen now, and if you can see, just let me know. Okay. Yeah, if you can see my screen, you can unmute yourself and say, I can see it.
I can see your screen.
And that's nice.
I can see your screen here.
I can see your screen, sir.
All right. So in case you're seeing one, is it readable enough, or should I zoom it?
Please zoom it, sir.
Zoom more, please.
Is this enough now?
No, you can't see it clearly.
Zoom more.
I should increase it.
Yes,
Yes,
increase it.
increase it. Yeah.
Okay, can you see it now?
No.
It's better.
It's better.
Yes, from my end.
Not right.
All right. So is it better now? Hello? Can we see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see.
All right.
Yes,
So
I can see.
I was just doing one small demo. So I'll just let me finish this. This is going to be a struggle, but get past it. Just give me a minute. Let me just start from the beginning so that I don't have to. Okay. All right. So you can see a black screen now, right? Everywhere is black. Everywhere is black now.
Yes.
Yes, we
All
can
right.
see.
So
Yes.
so this is. Can you see file, edit, selection, view, go, run, terminal, help?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay. So just to make sure we are just going back to what we started with, which is the command line interface. I'll be clicking on terminal. Can you see terminal?
Yes.
So if you're somebody who likes shortcut, you can do Control plus Shift plus shortcut. So when you click open a new terminal, you would see something like this now. Can we see my screen now? Are we on?
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right, so remember I said something about the operating system and us interacting with it. So an interface is just an environment where two people or two entities try to communicate and pass adequate information between themselves. So in this interface now, in this environment, the environment is telling us that we are on the Microsoft Windows operating system version 10.0.1904, whatever, those things behind it. and the owner of this operating system is Microsoft Corporation, all rights reserved. Right? Now, for me now, I understand English and I can read what this is showing me. But now, for me to be able to interact with this interface, I need to know where I am and how I can interact with this operating system. So starting from the left to right, you see there's a C, then colon /users /parity one, then greater than or I don't know whether it's greater than or less than sign, but anyone it is can help me out. I always mix them up. So the C now means is a letter for your hard drive, your hard disk drive, right? Then the colon is now telling you that there are certain folders inside this hard drive where certain informations are kept. Now, the slash tells you that users is a folder inside the hard drive called C. Are we following? Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, with you, sir.
All right, so now inside the hard drive, we have users, and inside users, we have parity one, which most times is the user account where you put in your password to get access to your computer. Now, to make sure we know where we are, we can just write this command, who am I? I hope everybody is with me with their systems. You can just write who am I and press enter. This is always the first command that anybody can be very fulfilled about writing on the computer and you get a response. So I believe we should do this and feel happy. So how many of us have done it? So who am I is just a question that the computer will give you a response telling you name of your computer and the current user account you're currently operating with. So as you see, the computer name is Aztec, while the user account I'm currently on is parity 1. Now, moving on to the next, I can't get any response from us. I hope I'm not talking to myself. Hello. Oh, your chat. Wow. I will try and respond. Okay. Okay, sorry. My screen is a bit zoomed, so I'm not able to see the thing at the same time. All right. Okay, thank you very much. I think we are all following. So now if we're to go to the next thing now, we now know who we are on the system. We now know what the system is all about. Now, moving forward, let's say we want to even know how many folders are inside parity 1. You can just do dir. Dir is a short word for directory. Dir is a short word for directory. And on the Windows operating system, it helps you list out all the folders in your system. It helps you show all folders, all files on your system. So there are some folders that maybe you're trying to find out or you've forgotten where they are. You just put dir on your computer and it just displays every folder name and file that you've created and shared on your system. You can see there's desktop, there's documents, there's downloads, and some other things that I do apart from web that are here. So now, let's say we want to go into the desktop. This one, you can see, I think the last time it was checked was 20th of April 2021, and I think the last time something was created there was 11 p.m., 11:05 p.m. So now, in a case where I have so much on my screen and I want to clear it, on the Windows, I'll write CLS, and it will take me to a clean slate. So everything that was written before will be cleared, and you have more like a clean cursor to type on. Now, it is very important to know that when using the command line interface, we have sessions. Sessions are just durations when something has happened or something will happen or should happen in. So if I'm currently using this interface now, and maybe I now install another software and need to use this interface, there's every possibility that it might tell you that interface or that program installed is not found, because when you installed it, you actually launched the terminal to be working on. So there are some instances where maybe for those people who work with other programming languages like JavaScript and Java, or even in Python, there are sometimes you might install maybe Django, install another package, then maybe you now forgot that was not the command prompt or the terminal you used. You will now be seeing this package is not recognized. It's telling you that because as at when you installed it, you did not install it using that session of the first one. Like now, if I do something like this now, I did dir, and I saw all the folders in my system, all the files on my system. Let's say when I created a folder with my outside here, I've not started this command prompt session, it might not show me that file, and there's no cause for alarm. It's just for you to just create another command line session, or close the one you have and just restart that terminal, because there are instances where you might be complaining that, but I installed this thing now, why is it not working yet? It's just to tell us that for everything that you do, it's more like records it on a separate session for each terminal. So when you experience that, and like Mrs. Anna said, that might be your first encounter with a bug, which is it did not recognize that you did something before. Just close the command prompt and start a new one. You will see your file from where you actually created it. So moving on, we would now change. We want to move into desktop. So the command for that is cd. Cd means change directory. So once I do cd desktop, you see from only priority 1 now, we are now in desktop. Can we all see this? Let me check the chat section. I hope we are all following.
Yes, some people, they are naturally calm. There's one of my former.
All right, thank you very much. So just to do a recap of what I've said so far, if you want to check for all the folders or files on your system, the keyword or the command to use is CLS. DIR, sorry, that lists all the folders and files on your system. Then if you want to have a clean environment, or this space you're typing, I've forgotten the name, that expects an input, you will just write CLS. Now, to just explain further what I mean by that session I was talking about. Okay. To just explain what I mean by that. Now, if I write something like, let's say dir, right? Remember, we are no more only in parity now. We are inside desktop. So desktop is a folder inside parity 1. So if I do dir, if you notice, you'll see it is no longer, you're no more seeing desktop, you're no more seeing download. You're now seeing everything that's inside the desktop folder. Now, let's say I now want to clear. Remember, I wanted to see everything here. If I now clear it, CLS. Normally, if you press your up arrow, you should see the last things you've typed. You can see I'm not typing, but all these things, even the first command I wrote is still here. Dir I wrote, CLS, dir, CD desktop. So in case you forget where you are, you can just use your arrow to recall the last message you typed to give the computer. So we've talked about changing directory, knowing where we are, which is current directory can be dir for Windows and ls for Mac or Linux operating system. So if you now want to list all the files on your system, all you just need to do is write dir for Windows and ls for Mac or Linux operating system. To change directory to desktop, you write cd, either you use small letters or capital letters, it will still work. It's not case sensitive in most cases. Now, this one is telling me I can't change into desktop because there's no desktop inside desktop. Now, if I want to go a step backwards, like maybe I don't want to be in desktop again, I want to go back to parity 1. What I'll do is cd dot. Although this is not in the tutorials manual, but you can do this sometimes to go back a step backward. So if you do cd full stop, it will take you one step backward. And if you continue doing it back, then automatically you'll go back to C drive. Remember, all these things are folders inside the hard disk. So if I now do cd desktop, automatically we'll go back to the desktop folder inside parity 1. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask. And before we go into the next one, which is creating a directory. A directory can also be called a folder. Any questions? Okay, if you're using a Mac, use ls, small letters. I just saw your message on Mac. Small letter ls. Yes, the command line. Oh, are you asking me to repeat what command line interface is? Charity. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, so I'm just trying to respond to some messages I saw on the chat so that we can continue. Okay, so for Abiola, dir won't work on Mac OS. Just use ls, and it should appear. It should list all the information on your Mac. So to create a directory, what you do on a Mac, you write mkdir. So mkdir means make directory, and following the guide, you can just write practice. So just to make sure I've not created this mark before, just to make sure I've not created practice before, you can just do dir, and in case of mark, you can do ls, just ls instead of dir. So you can just do dir inside desktop and scroll to check whether there's anything called practice. And when we just confirm that, then we just write mkdir practice. So I always say, whenever you have you've successfully executed a command, the prompt will keep on asking you for the next input in the next line. So if you get an error message after you try doing this, that means you did not write the command that the computer understand, or you did not find where that folder or file is located. Now, for us to be on this second line, it means a folder called practice has been created and now exists inside the desktop folder. Are we following? So ls is small l, not big capital L. Are you on terminal? That is Abiola. Are you on terminal? Yes, just write ls, small letters, and hit enter or return. It should give you a response. So once you've created practice, you can just do cd. That means we want to enter into practice. We can do cd practice, and you'll see another slash will appear, because now we now have a folder called practice. You can see we now have 4 folders. The main folder is users, the subfolder is priority 1, the subfolder is desktop, and another folder inside desktop is called practice. So now the practice test, according to the tutorial guide, is for us now to practice something now, which is I've created practice, so we can now create another folder inside practice called tests. So if you've done that, if you can do that, you can just take a snapshot of your screen and share in the comment section after you've changed directory to test. I think that will take us like 2 minutes. So the task now is to create a folder inside practice. Then you now check to see whether that test folder was created. Remember, to check what is inside the folder, you use dir on Windows and ls for Mac.
I've created tests inside practice, sir.
Okay. So can you share your screen? Can you just take a snapshot of your screen and share in the comment section? If you can't, it's fine. It's fine. Oh, somebody has done that already. That's nice. Okay, don't worry. If you can't, it's just like saving it and sharing it with. You see one small when you're in the chat section. You see one place the right file. You can just click on it, and it will take you to sharing it. So you can see Abiola's own. I hope everyone is still on the call. Even if you can't share it, just make sure you try, make an attempt to do this task so that okay, Abiola is sharing that her own is still not working. Okay. Okay. Sometimes this thing happens with VS Code on Mac. So the solution to this is that you just have to minimize the VS Code on Mac, then go to the raw terminal on your Mac and try this command. It will work. It happens. I understand the challenge you've been talking about now. It happens. So are we good? How many people? If you've done it, just unmute your mic and say, I've done it. That's fine.
I have done it, but I don't know how to share it, but I have done it, sir.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. The main thing is that you've done it. Then I think we can move on. So I'm not hearing any ladies again. What's going on? Ladies, I want to hear your voices.
So it works on terminal.
Okay, it works. The LS.
Yes, the LS.
Yeah, so you're supposed to do the I found the solution shout. Like
Oh
Anna.
yeah, so you found the solution. Thank you.
All right. So just moving on. So we'll just okay, let me just can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So just for those who didn't understand what I was talking about, just the task on the guide was to create a folder called test inside practice. So to do that, since we already created practice before, just do mkdir space then tst. So once you do that, you press enter, then you now do dir or ls. If you press, can you see this is now test. Now, if we want to now check, if we now want to change directory into test, you can now do cd tst, and we are good. So can you see it now? So now there's something called CRUD, CRUD. CRUD is more like an operation, a file operation that always occur in any operating system or any information system. So C means create, R means read, U means update, and D means delete. So we've just done create, read, we didn't do update, and according to the guide, we have to delete. So now, if we want to delete a folder on Windows, the main thing you have to understand is you have to first go into the directory where that folder is. Then afterwards, you now use the keyword for deleting a folder to make sure you delete properly. Most times, there are, or not even most times, there are keywords to delete a file and also a keyword to delete a folder. Now, to make sure we want to delete practice, we can now do cd backward, that's one step backwards, cd again, one step backwards. Now you're in desktop. Now to remove or to delete a folder, you use rm, short form for remove. So rm, then -r, then the name of the folder, then press enter. You can see if there was an error, it will not come to the next line, prompting you to write something that the computer should be able to execute. So if you now do dir to confirm whether practice still exists, if you scroll up, you can see practice is no longer here. That means we've successfully used a command called rm to delete a particular folder and its content. I hope we got that.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me just go through the chat to make sure I'm not missing out on anybody. Okay, somebody said no. So double chi, what's the challenge? Can unmute and say something. Charity is not smiling.
I didn't get the part about the remove.
The remove.
Yes.
Okay. Is this Charity or double chi?
Double chi.
Okay, double chi. All right. So the remove. Okay, I should go through the process again.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'll do that. So I think I'll have to create the folder again. I'm sure everybody knows how to create a folder, so I'll just rush through that. mkdir practice. So if I do cd into practice to confirm it's there, you can see it's there. So to go backwards, I'll just do cd ... and it takes me back, but practice is there. So I do dir to confirm practice exists on my system. So you should see it here. Can you see it here? Can we all see this?
Yeah.
All right. Now, to delete that practice, all you just need to do is, let me clear my screen so you can have a better view. To delete practice now, according to grammar, we're deleting a folder. But according to the computer, we are removing a folder, which also means deleting. So to remove that folder from the file system or from the computer, you use rm, give a space, -r, then the name of the folder, which is practice, then you press enter. If the folder exists, it will take you to the next line, prompting you for another instruction. So did we get this one now?
Yes.
Okay. Charity says she's not smiling too. I hope she's smiling now. So I hope everybody has gotten the remove command. All right. So Ademola is in the spirit now. So okay, I think everybody's getting it. Yeah, that's nice. So I think we are almost rounding up some very basic commands in command line instructions. And I would like to say that it's very important that we go through this this tutorial guide, just like Ms. Anna mentioned, there are some times when you encounter some challenges in programming, and those very introductory information you got when you were starting up will be your savior. So that's why I always advise that it's not a bad idea to actually go back to what is programming or what is Python language and understand what people say about it, or what people even understand about what the language should be used for, what the language can do, because it can also broaden your own scope of why you're not solving the problem at that particular time, and even give you insights to better understand it better. I've not gotten it's telling me I remember. Okay. RM. That's serious. So how did you write it? Can you unmute yourself and talk? Let me see how you write it or how you wrote it. Lucy.
I wrote RM space the dash and R practice space then practice, and then it just under it said RM is not recognized as an internal external command.
What operating system are you using?
Windows.
7 or 10?
7.
7.
Yes.
Okay. It's supposed to work. Okay, what you do is try doing RM space R, that space, like space, then dash R, then F after the R. See whether that works.
Okay.
But you've created the practice, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so let's see how that works. So the command line, it works now.
No, it didn't.
It work?
It's the same thing. No. It's the same thing.
Oh, interesting. Maybe what will happen is maybe on the WhatsApp group, maybe you just send me a message so that we can actually find solutions to it.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Right. No problem. So now command line is a very broad topic, and in most cases, some people even study it as a field or as a profession in IT. I think it's called shell programming or so. So you actually study like command line interface in like core. And for like I was saying before, you can actually go into this tutorial guide and see that there are lots of commands here. There is actually one for like if I want to know where I am currently, I can do pwd. Pwd means present working directory, or presently working directory. Yeah. Pwd, it tells you where you are, just shows you where you are. Then who am I tells you who you are on the computer. And remove is RM. To create a directory is mkdir. And so this one is just one that I can just you can just do here, just off the micro. It's just one small thing you can do on your own. Let's say you want to create a file. You don't want to go and click create file and so on and so forth. So I'll just create practice because I've deleted it. So you can do mkdir practice. So I now change directory to practice. So I want to create a file called index.html. So I can actually just do echo. Let's see, hello. And now do something like this. Index.html. So what this is trying to say is it's going to create a HTML document called index.html, and put hello inside that HTML document. And the reason why I'm using this one is most times, if I use the one that Mac OS uses and Linux uses, it might not work on Windows until you install the Git bash shell. I'm sure one of my fellow coaches will be the one to take us through Git. And by the time we get there, you will be able to use the keyword called touch. So if I do this, you see it has given me another prompt to write another command. So if we now check inside practice, you should see index.html created. Are we still here? Is anybody confused? I hope I didn't confuse anybody. Okay, there's hope. Some people are following. Nice, nice, nice. I believe in us. So these are just extras, or not that they are contained in the tutorial guide. These are just extras. So now we've created a file called index.html, and we did that using echo hello double dot this sign. I think it's greater than, and index.html. So another extra again, to know what is inside the index.html, you can do I've forgotten this. Okay, when I remember, I'll tell us. Anyway, I can actually view it from the terminal, what is inside, but I can't remember the command now. So there is move, there's make directory, there's command, there's directory, there's cd, and if you now want to exit this terminal, you can now do exit and press enter. You can see it has wiped off that terminal session. So I have to create a new terminal now to make sure I have a fresh one. So just to okay, how you recall by pressing up arrow or down arrow. If you want to recall the last command you wrote, you either press the up arrow or the down arrow based on how much commands you've written. So are there any questions? Okay, if you want to exit, you just write exit and press enter.
Yes, sir. My question is, if we make a directory and you see another folder and you want to transfer it to that directory, how do you move it to that directory? Is it possible?
Yes, you can move it, but our advice, if you want to move directories, that if you're not like so conversant with the command for moving, it can go haywire. But the keyword for move is mv. MV.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So any other questions? Let me check what my agenda is so that I won't go and say what I'm not supposed to say. Try. What do you want me to try? Okay, move. Okay, just give me a minute. Copy. Okay, let me see. So I'll do a test, and if it works, then I don't normally use move on command line to avoid stories that touch. Coming. I am coming. This is where Google comes in handy, because copying these 5 parts is something I don't want to mess up with now. It's normal to say you're Googling stuff. Don't be ashamed of saying you want to check Google. Oh, sorry. Forgotten I'm supposed to zoom my. Can you see it now? I think you should see it now. Yeah. Okay, so move. So So they did. Ah, that was fast though. So let me just do a check. So what I did was, I created a file called index.html inside practice, right? And I created a folder called test inside practice. So I now said, okay, move this one, move index.html to test folder. You can see the difference between this link, this part, to this one. Because this one is inside, since I'm inside practice, I don't need to write any C/users. But because I'm moving to another directory, this has to be the source and this the location. So if I now do dir inside practice, you see it's no longer there. But if I now do cd test and do dir, you can see index.html. So anybody confused? Someone is out no more. Don't worry. Even me said this is the first time I'm trying it. Okay. All right. So don't worry. You can always send me a private message so that I'll be able to judiciously use my time. I moved the file I created called index.html. So I created a file called index.html, if you remember, inside inside practice. So I moved it to test folder. So let me just do an introduction to Python. And I believe that would be a very good way to round up this session, so that I think the essence of command line will now put to use when we're doing some command instructions here. So so Python is like a language that is very, very robust in what it does. You can use it to build websites, you can use it to build games, you can use it to analyze data, you can even use it to build very smart robots that understand or mimic what a human being might think or what a human being might do. So some people will say Python is a high-level language that is interpreted. That is like what's the word to use? So Python is there are some that are static type. You can say Python is a dynamic language that helps you create software like websites, games, servers, then data analytics tools, and even help analyze data faster and easier. So to make sure that we put to use some of the things we've learned. Now, if you've already installed, I'm sure there have been a message from one of the coaches on the group to install Git, to create an account on GitHub, and also install Git Python on your system. While not forgetting that you have to have an account on Python Anywhere, and also Python Anywhere, yes. So for us to check whether we have Python installed properly on our system, you have to write the keyword Python. So since I've navigated, even if you're still in the desktop folder, it will still work. Now, there was something I forgot to share on the group when we were installing Python, and which is you're supposed to actually somebody is. Can we mute? Can somebody mute their mic? So when you're installing Python, it's always good that you install it. You check one box called install to path or add to path. So that will help you. That will help some programs like Python, Django, and any other Django package to be able to recognize the version of Python you're using on your system and adequately download proper packages it needs to work very well. In some cases, you might even type Python on your system and it will tell you Python is not recognized as a software on your system or as a keyword. It's because you did not add it to path and the computer doesn't really understand what you are asking it to do using that keyword. So just kicking off, we'll just say sometimes some systems use py as keyword. If you type py, it might tell you, it might show you this, right? If you also do, okay. If I type exit and type, you can either write, sometimes some systems are selective of the keyword. You can either use py, python. Then in Mac and Linux, by default, this Mac and Linux comes with Python 2. So if you write Python, you will see Python 2 point something as the version installed on your system. And as we speak, Python 2 was Python 2 has been discontinued, or maintenance on Python 2 was discontinued in 2020. So most of the applications being built now have more focus on building with Python 3. So when you do Python, in Mac terminal and Linux terminal, you have to specify the version of Python you are working with, which is Python 3. On Windows, it might not work. You see what it's doing. So, but on Mac, you have to specify that you want Python 3 instead of Python 2. So just to go back to what we were doing before, we'll just write Python. Now you see this, you see the version of the Python. So at this point, this confirms that Python is installed on your system, and it has an interactive console where you can give specific Python commands and it will give you adequate responses. So this is called an interactive console where, like I said before, it gives you an interface to communicate with the Python programming shell. So once you see this, you should know that Python was successfully installed on your system. Now, you can sometimes want to do 1000 plus 1000, and it will give you 2000. Or 2 plus 6 to give you 8. 5 minus 9 to give you minus 4. 8 times 8. For multiplication, you use asterisk or star. So you can now also do 7 minus 603. And it will give you minus 596. Or you do 5 divided by 6, which is slash, and it gives you 0.83333333334. Now, these are what we call arithmetic functions or arithmetic operations, where Python tries to add numbers and gives you a result. So when you can try out any combinations: addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, and addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. You can try any of those operations and it should give you a response once you use the enter. And sometimes you can also do some operations where it involves raised to the power. Let's say 2 cube or 2 raised to the power 3. To do that, you can do 3 star star 3. This double star means raised to the power. So you can now do enter and it will give you 27. I hope we're still seeing my screen. Hello?
Yes, I can.
All right. So for every language, there are certain ways you put together certain instructions or certain commands so that the language understands, or the environment where that language is interpreted or compiled or even processed will understand what you're trying to do and make sure you follow the right procedures. So that concept or that idea is called a syntax. I'm sure some of you might have heard people use syntax error, syntax this, syntax that. Syntax is just like a procedure in which any programming language is written and the machine understands what you're trying to communicate to it so that an output will be given back to you. Now, in a syntax, there are things we call data types. The data types form the blocks or form bases in which a syntax can be either complete or incomplete. Like now, I did 5 minus 9, which gave us minus 4. So 5 automatically becomes a number, and the minus is an arithmetic operator, which means it is going to look at what is on the left-hand side and look at what's on the right-hand side and try to make sure that the two of them does something. So if 5 minus 9 gives us minus 4, it means that minus in the middle is making sure that the number on the left-hand side and the number on the right-hand side carry out a specific task before the interactive shell will give us an output. And that, you can see, is a syntax for writing or computing an arithmetic operation. So if you don't write it like this, if you write like this, it will give you an answer. But if you now write 59 to give you 59, which it thinks should be a number. So in data types, we have things like numbers, strings, integers, lists. We have lists. Yes, we have booleans, and we have there's some other ones, but the very popular ones are integers, strings, lists, tuples, dictionaries, and some other ones that maybe by the time we continue to go down the guide, we'll be able to access them. So a string is anything that you identify in between a quote. If you see something like this, you can see CLS doesn't exist in this Python shell. So that's why it's telling you CLS is not defined. So a string is something like this. If it has double quotes, you can say, maybe, let me use this now, double quotes, Helen. This can be classified as a string because it has these double quotes by the side. Are we still following?
Yes, sir.
So if you now press enter, if you press enter, it will still give you the same response or output as Helen. So if I now write, I think this should work, type of, okay, it's not going to work. I've not gotten to that stage, so better don't try it. So if I do, what I was trying to write now is to either check whether Helen is a string or not. But it will not be able to know whether Helen is a string or not because I have not defined it, or I have not told the computer that it should store Helen. And when I want to check what Helen is, it should also go back in time and check what Helen is and tell me what it is.
Yeah, come on, check it.
So for now, we'll just start with the basics and get to that stage where we'll talk about what I just wanted to do now. So we just know that for anything that has either a single quote or double quote around it, it can be classified as a string. A string is just a combination of characters. In some low-level languages like C, there's this emphasis on knowing what a character is. This is CHAR. So for every string, it is a combination or arrangement of characters. Like H is a character, E is a character, L is a character, E is a character, and N is also a character. So let's say we want to now say, good afternoon, Helen. So we can do it like this. Just say good afternoon and put plus. Plus, put Helen. If we do this and press enter, you will see there's something strange about this output. Can anybody tell me?
There's no space between afternoon and Helen.
Okay, afternoon and Helen. Now, in most cases, the fix to that is just by, so if you remember what I said, just recall, instead of me to type this in again, I can just press the up button, up arrow, and to just recall what I wrote. So if I want to fix that, I can just come to this place and just press space. Or come to this place and press space. If I do this and press enter, can you see that it has been fixed? If I also do this, it will still give me the same result. So at this point, what we've done is combine two strings together and give them space to make sure that we understand what we are talking about. We are trying to greet Helen and tell her good afternoon. So that plus you are seeing there is called concatenation. CONCATENATION. This concatenation. So it combines or adds two strings together so that it doesn't just join itself as one string. So in an instance where we want to make everything here capital letter, you can just use .UPPR bracket open bracket close. So once you do this, you can see it will change Helen to capital letter. Can anybody say why it only chose Helen?
Because the UPPR is close to Helen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it means
because you're
we
only
are
assigning
following.
it to Helen.
All right, that's fine. So if we now say we want to put upper to good afternoon, you can just do upper, and we see everybody is now in capital letters. So in a case we also want to find out, now this upper is called a method. It's called a method. So a method is just a sequence of instructions, like a lot of instructions that are just put together and given a title that will always do the same thing every time you use the word upper. So the word upper now will always change anything that is in alphabet to capital letters. So is upper in brackets open and bracket close is called an upper method. So in a case where we also want to check the length, how many characters are inside good afternoon, you can just write, this one now is now called a length method. So this method now more like checks. Is it a method? It's a function. So if you now do this, it now checks, okay, I want to write Helen. If I do this now, I press enter, it now tells me there are 5 characters inside the word Helen. I hope we are following.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So things like things like plus, minus, addition, plus, minus, asterisk, division are called what? They are called operators. Then Helen is called, like Helen with single quote or double quote is called what?
The string.
A string.
A string.
String, yeah.
Then what is upper?
It's a method.
A method that has sequence of instructions that makes it possible for any alphabet to be changed to capital letters. So now there's something that we will be moving on to, which is called a variable. A variable is something that doesn't have a fixed state. So you can store anything in a variable and it can change over time. So let's say I want to store Helen in a variable so that in a case where I'm doing a registration form, like JAM form, it won't have to always show me the name of the first person that used that form. A form is something that expects you to write something inside and to transfer it from the website to a server. So to create a variable, you just have to have a name you give it. Then let's say name now. And it's always good that your variables are descriptive. It's not proper that you're trying to store a name and the name of the variable will now be numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4 will now be the variable name for Helen. So you can just write name and use equals. This equal sign is also an operator. An operator to assign what is on the right-hand side to what is on the left-hand side. For plus, you're adding what is on the right and what's on the left to give you an output which will give you either a value or a negative value or a positive value. So in this case, we want to push what is on the right-hand side, which is Helen, into what the variable will now store it as name. So if we now do this, so instead of me to write Helen every time, all I'll just do is write, let me see whether this will work. Okay, it worked. So sometimes you have to write something like this, print, you have to write something like this. Yeah. So sometimes you have to write something like this for it to work. But since this other one worked, I think we're good to go. So you write the variable name will now be name and the value will now be Helen. Then what assigns the value to name is now the equal sign, which is an assignment operator. So whenever you write name, it will always give you Helen. So if I'm to now say, do what I did before, I'll just write good afternoon space plus name. Can you see I didn't write Helen again, I only wrote name. So if I now decide to change name, assign a different value, maybe I change it to Django girls. Whenever if I change this, can you see it has adopted the value of what is inside the name, regardless of whether it was Helen before or whether I even intended to even change to Django girls. So what I'm trying to say is that a variable doesn't have a fixed state, but can actually store any value that you want it to adopt or assume. So this is for a string. Now, if you want to now do for numbers, you can now say A equals 100, B equals 200. So you now do A plus B, and you get 300. So whenever you do A times B, A divided by B and A minus B. You can see you get 3 different types, but I don't need to be writing 100, 200 every time. So I hope you're getting this. So I mean, how many of you have practiced some of these things I've done here? You can just unmute and say, I've done it.
I've done it.
I have done it. I have done it too.
That's nice. Just take a cup and drink water and say I've done it too. So So we've touched on strings, arithmetic functions, variables, and numbers. In some programming languages, they call numbers integers. So, but in Python programming, it's called number. So there's a print function which I tried to do earlier, and it's just a way to actually just output what you've told the computer to do. So if I want to display what is in a variable, I can do print A. If I want to display what is in B, I do print B. Let's say I want to now do A plus B. What if I now say, okay, I want to now say print A times 100. Are we saying that we are still repeating the same process, but it's now more concise? So instead of you to be doing it one by one, you can just do print the variables, then the arithmetic function you want, the arithmetic operator you want, then the following command. So you can even, as much as possible, just combine all this and see how it works out. So the one we'll be touching on before I'll be taking any questions and maybe rounding up this session is lists. So list is just list. It gives you a collection of items. A collection of items. And when you know a list is by using this sign. I hope you can see you can still see my screen. This square bracket.
Yes, sir.
The square bracket tells you is a list. So I can just do a list. Yeah. This is a list. So there's another one called tuple. Is in brackets. This is how you know a tuple. And a dictionary is this curly braces. Dictionary, yeah. This is a dictionary, right? So difference between a list, a tuple, and a dictionary is just the limitations they have and the use cases that you might want to apply. So, for a list, you can just say lottery and have this. You can do 3, 5, 7, 8, then this. So if you now do lottery, can you see it has printed or shown you what is inside lottery? So now, in this case now, you can just do LEN. LEN means length. So you can just find out how many things are inside and it will tell you 4. So in this case now, I want to be able to show only number 9. There's now something called indexing. Indexing means identity numbers that each of these items have inside this list. So to do that, you can just do lottery, square bracket. 0 is a number in programming. So you count from 3. 3 will now have an index number of 0. 5 will be 1. 6 will be 2. 9 will be 3. There are 4 items here, but you start with 0, counting them from left to right. If you now want to use minus, you will now start minus from 9. Minus 2 will now be 6. Minus 3 will be 5. Minus 4 will be 3. So if I write minus 4, you see, it showed me the position of, most times this is mathematics. On the number line, there is 0. 0 is in the middle. The left is negative, to the right is positive. So when you do that, you're just more like trying to know what is on a particular number. But if I do lottery 4, can you see? The index error is telling me that list is out of range, because remember I said 0, 1, 2, 3. That's 4 items. So if you're now saying 4, it means there are 5 items and our list only has 4 items. I hope we are following.
Yes, sir.
Are we following?
Yes, we are following.
All right, that's fine. So I think we'll just do dictionaries and just do booleans, and we are good to go. There are lots of other data types that are here, but just make sure we don't exhaust our time and it doesn't get boring. I think it's very important that you practice some of these things on your own, make mistakes, and somebody will be able to correct them so that you understand some of these things. Okay, I will just touch on that -4. So now in indexing helps you give identity cards. Let me use identity cards now to items in a list. So in a list, it's just a collection of items. It can be numbers, it can be strings, it can be anything, it can be characters. But for you to know which one is at a particular place, we use indexing. So indexing is just use of numbers to give these items positions. So if you're using negative numbers, you're starting from the right and counting back to the left. So if I'm to use -4, I will start with 9 as -4 and count to the left. That means it will now be -4 will be 9, -3 will be 6, -4 will be 3, -5 -3 will be 5, -2 will be -2, 3, 2.
-2 will be 6.
Yes, 2 will be 6. Then -1 will be 9. Then 0 will always be very, very quiet after 9. So that's why if you see when we did -4, we got 3. But if we do lottery 1 will be 5. Because we start 0 is here, 1 is here, 1 is this. So if I do something like let's say 0, -4. Okay. All right. This one is a bit advanced, but so this one is 0. You get 3. If you now do -4, you get 3. So for whatever position you want, you always get 3 if you use index 0, and use -4 if you use to get 3. So I'll just do dictionaries. I've shown us what dictionaries look like. So dictionaries are things in brackets and curly brackets. So you can just do participants equals this. So in dictionaries, we have keys and values. So you can just say something like this. Name. Then this colon sign can be double chi. Then comma, country. Don't mind me, my keyboard is upside down. Canada. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
So, so if you now want to check what is under name, you can now do something like this. Just recall participants and do something like this. You can see the difference between this one and the first one, list. Because name is the key and the value is double chi, you have to write the variable name, which is participant, put it inside the square bracket, then now put the key value. You now get the value attached to it. So at this point, I'll be taking questions and any other comments that might arise so that we can actually round up. Any questions? Let me check the chat.
Can you kindly come again on this participant?
Okay, the participant.
Yeah.
Okay, so on dictionaries, right, it has this curly brackets as a way to differentiate it from list, which is a square bracket, right? Now, the concept or the easy way to understand it is that this is always the key and this is the value. Okay. So whatever you want to be shown every time you ask for a name will be shown this. So anything that, like now, if I yes, the value will always be dynamic because we have different types of names. But anytime you now want to know the name of maybe participant 1, what you now do is name bracket open 0 to show you the first participant. Okay. You understand? So it helps you with very, very big lists or big data of people that you feel you might need to access information of people instead of calling them one by one.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Okay, I want to ask, after doing this, how do I save so that I can easily practice?
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. What will happen is I think I'll just do that. So you could actually just inside the practice file, inside the practice file, you can just let me just do this again. CD practice. Let me see whether it's still there. Okay, it's still there. So you can just do let's say echo print. This might throw an error, but let me try. Print hello. Then test.py. Okay, it worked. Interesting. So this will help you just create a basic Python file that you can use anytime. Then you can always run this file by just writing Python test.py. You can see it's telling me that hello is not defined. So this file already exists. So let me just see. There's a command I was saying I was talking about before. It's cat.py. So it shows you what is inside the file. I might not be able to edit what is here, but you can actually just do this and create. Let me create another one so I don't waste our time. So I'll just or 1. You can create this file on your text editor and just practice. I'm just trying to show you that it's possible that you can save these files, and you can see, because I wrote it properly now, you can see hello as up top. Is equivalent to writing something like this too. Remember I said print is a function that helps you display what is inside the brackets. What's going on here? This computer. So anyway, we'll just leave it at this point, but you can always create Python files and write your command and run it on your console. The command to run any Python file is Python space the name of the Python file. Remember, you must always be in the directory where the Python file is to make sure it works. I don't know why this error is showing up. So any other questions before we round up? No questions? I hope I didn't confuse anybody. Okay, I think we'll just have, just send me a message on WhatsApp. I'll respond to some of our questions so that we don't eat up into our time for this session. Thank you very much, and I believe I've been able to convince some of you to become Python programmers.
Thank you very much. Nice.
Thank you so much.
Nice lecture from you.
All right.
Thank you so much, Coach Namdi. Thank you so much. Please, can we give Coach Namdi a resounding virtual applause, please? He has done so much. He has held the fort for 2 good hours. Thank you so much. Nice, awesome. You guys are amazing. Thank you, guys. So if you've had an aha moment, remember we promised to give you guys an aha moment. If you've had an aha moment throughout this session, please let me see you say aha in the comments. Let me see you say that in the chat box. Let me see your aha moments. You're great, awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Aditula. Thank you, everyone. Okay, just before we bring this session to a close, one festival, apologize for taking 18 minutes into your time. We're behind schedule, but I'm really sure it was worth it. Thank you to everyone who had aha moments. Great. Awesome. Okay, just before we take a bow, you might want to listen to this very important information that I'll be passing across to you right now. Okay, so just remember, like Anna has said, don't be afraid to fail while you code. Remember to fail forward instead. And we here at Django Girls Abuja are here to hold your hands and guide you through to perfection every step of the way. Also, as usual, just as Coach Namdi has said, feel free to reach out to him and ask him any question that you have for him. Okay, really important, reach out to him. We're always here to help you out. Don't forget, okay, don't forget, oh, he has even dropped his number in the chat box. Feel free to grab it right now, go to the chat box and communicate with him, ask him your questions and get more clarifications, all right? Do not forget to tweet and retweet your amazing experience in this virtual session all this while, okay? Make sure to tag us, make sure to use our winning hashtag, which is Django Girls Virtual. And this is really important because our distinguished supporter, PyCharm, we'll be issuing a PyCharm IDE license to the best participant who engages most on our streets in Twitter. So you want to take advantage of this opportunity via ensuring that your engagement level is top notch, right, on Twitter. There is a breakout session that will be curated for us. Stay tuned for this. It's really important that you get to network, okay? Anna made mention of this when she was giving us her introductory speech. And I think it's really important that aside learning from the coaches, you're able to build a group of super amazing personalities like yourself that have interest in coding in order to help you stay strong through this tech journey. Please keep up with every information that is placed on the WhatsApp group. It is for your own benefits. Ensure to communicate with us at any time you hit a tech block. Okay, so for now, on behalf of the organizers, coordinators, and hosts of Django Girls Abuja session, this event, we want to say thank you very much for staying up until now, even though we've taken 20 minutes into your time. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the breakout session that has been curated for us all to network. Stay super strong and see you here again next week, same time, according to the schedule that will be put out on the WhatsApp group. Thank you, guys. You can join the breakout room now.